Has Mercedes Mone made a big mistake? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm talking about, because after covering wrestling for some of the biggest wrestling news outlets over the last 10 years, I've followed Mercedes Mone, and I have become a huge fan of Mercedes Mone and what she's been able to do in wrestling, what she's been able to do in WWE, New Japan, and AEW. Because Mercedes Mone is someone that has legitimately transcended the pro wrestling industry. She has gone into acting, she has gone into modeling, and she's also a businesswoman because she wears not one but multiple hats. And she was a big time star in WWE to the point where when she left, when she had the creative falling out with Vince McMahon in the summer of 2022, her name being on the market, well, it generated buzz, and everyone was speculating where she would go. Now, obviously, she ended up in New Japan, where she had a very successful run, making her promotional debut in January of 2023, before ultimately being sidelined with a devastating injury that resulted in her undergoing surgery some months later, putting her on the sidelines even more for an extended period of time before arriving in All Elite Wrestling in March of 2024 on an episode of Dynamite. Now, what she was able to do for that show, the Big Business episode, somewhat similar to CM Punk, although not as successful as CM Punk, but rightfully so. Punk, he hadn't been around for many, many years. This was his big return to wrestling. It was in Chicago, one of the hotbeds of pro wrestling in general. And Mone, well, she did it in Boston, another hotbed for pro wrestling, but not as quite as hot as Chicago. I digress. They did big business for that episode. And since then, she has been used regularly on AEW television.